Good morning, students. I am Vijay Kumar K V, Department of English. I would like to give you an introduction to the rise of English literary forms in English literature in this video. The English language belongs to England. It's the language of England, but how and where this language comes from? First of all, the England comes from two words, Ingla land or Angle land. The name came from Anglo-Saxons, the early invaders of England. They were successful in uniting the West and the East England after the fall of Roman Empire. The Anglo-Saxons are successful in establishing a nation and creating its identity. They gradually assimilated into the integral English culture. The indigenous people accepted the Anglo-Saxons and together formed one nation, that is England. But it is not the end of the invasions. Vikings and Normans also tried to establish their authority over England, and they are successful in their endeavor. All these invasions influenced on the cultural and social practices of England. It also influenced on the language they used. The Anglo-Saxon who came from Germany influenced their Germanic language features on English. The Vikings language that is totally called Norse language had greatly influenced on England, that is on English language, especially Anglo-Saxon language. As English language is more flexible and open to new words, it absorbed many changes without difficulty. So this is a transition time to language, and it finds many changes in the form of words, sentence structure, and pronunciation. The next modern prominent influence on English language is Norman's conquest. Normans came from France and were successful in defeating Saxons and establishing a stable government in England. The French dialect, which brought together, has a strong influence in framing the language which is contemporary now. At the time of Norman's rule, English, French, Latin, and Greek were in use. English prominently used by commoner and lower class of people. Latin and French were the languages of courtiers and aristocratic class. Latin was used by missionaries and in church, and the Greek still had its relevance through philosophers, medical practitioners. The social and political upheavals in the Middle Ages also influenced on the growth of English language to the official status. The natural calamities like famine, Black Death, peasants' revolts, and other things like Hundred Years' War increased the prominence of peasants. The language of peasants was English, and to make the administration smooth, English was accepted officially in courts and offices. The prominent literary forms of English literature are prose, poetry, and drama. These are the main form of literature which is divided into many sub-forms which was developed into independent genres. In the classical age, the literature flourished in its full bloom and gave a remarkable contribution. Whatever we read or write, it refers back to the classical literature. However, After the fall of Roman Empire, the constituent countries developed independently in all the fields. England is one among them. The medieval age is recognized as Dark Age, which failed to show any remarkable progress in any field, even in the area of creative writing. The England, which began to come out of the title of Dark Age, was under the rule of Normans, initiated to progress. In the beginning, more than the prose writing, poetry was considered as a genre of creative expressions. Prose was used only in documents like official orders, in courts, etc. Therefore, prose form developed very lately as a creative genre. The development of prose. The prose is based on the grammatical structure which differs from the poetry which is based on the metrical structure. The word prose derived from the old word prose and which had its origin in Latin. Prosa oratio means straightforward discourse. Hence, it is very similar to the everyday speech. The prose can be written in different styles according to its subject matter and themes, like parables, novels, short stories, essays, and fables, etc. And the different styles may be adopted in one single piece of writing. In the same different form, in the same different forms of writing will be adopted by the writer according to his selection of theme, like the narrative, descriptive, expository, or persuasive. Therefore, writing of a piece of prose is dependent on various elements. Here we will discuss a few of them which are elementary to write prose. So I would like to brief you the basic elements of for writing a prose. First of all, character. Character for any piece of prose writing, characterization is important. They may be humans or animals. Generally, their characters are protagonists, antagonists, anti-heroes, etc. Setting. Setting is very important to any writing. It is like a background to it. It consists of time, place, context, etc. Next, plot. Plot is like skeleton of any story. It will have clear picture of the writing. Next, point of view. Point of view is very essential to the prose as it affects on the perspectives of the reader. The first person narration or the third person narration is seen in the writing. Next, structure. Any piece of prose writing is based on grammatical sentences. It reflects ordinary speech. It is not based on metrical structure as in poems. It is more liberal for writing styles than poetry. Types of prose. According to the style and theme of the writing, a piece of prose can be divided in the following manner. Fictional prose. A fictional prose is used in the writing of novels, novellas, short stories. Generally, it consists of character, plot, setting, and dialogue. Second one is non-fiction prose. Non-fictional prose is used in essays, journals, or in newspaper articles. It is also used in presenting true stories, factual accounts, or events. Heroic prose. Heroic prose is used either in written form or oral form. Usually heroic prose will be used in legends and tales. Prose poem. Prose is used in writing poetry. This hybrid form will be in rhythmic and rhyming patterns with poetic qualities. The development of prose from prose to fiction. The development of prose from the beginning to the contemporary times is studied through representative writers of the times. Earlier, prose writing dates back to the Latin language. In England, it all started from the translations. King Alfred encouraged translations, and he himself translated many literary works into English. Anglo-Saxon chronicles are the best early prose writing. Around 12th century, sermons were written in English to make accessible to the common man. The very important and remarkable work in English language is translation of Bible into English. John Wycliffe translated Bible into vernacular language. The corruption of the church practices forced them to protect protest against the church. The translation of the Bible reduced the gap between the God and the devotees. Around 1350 to 1400, a remarkable and revolution has taken place in English language. The poets of the century like John Gower, William Langland, Chaucer, and others have assisted for the growth of secular prose writing. A very serious and mystical type of writing emerged at this time. They used everyday language for prose writing. At the same time, secular writings were also produced. The chronicles were also made their mark at this time. The important work of Middle English prose writer was Sir Thomas Morley. Cycle of Arthurian Legends is another remarkable work in the genre of prose. Reginald Peacock has written the Book of Faith, where he preferred English words over Latin. William William Coxon is well known for his contribution to the English literature not only by his creative writing, composing and editing and translation, but for his introduction of printing press in England. Around 16th centuries in England, the prose form gained prominence altogether with poetry and drama. Sir Thomas Yates, the Book of the Governor, has written in classical style with long sentences. It is the perfect combination of matter and manner in prose writing. John Lilly of the century is well known for his epoistic style of writing. Epoise, the anatomy of wit, is the first new style of writing in English. Another new style developed at this time is pamphlet writing. Thomas Nash, Robert Greene, and Thomas Lodge are some prominent pamphlet writers of the age. Dunn of the century popularized the sermon writing. His sermons like Death's Duel contain poetic qualities in prose writing. Sir Philip Sidney is popular for his pastoral romance. He has also written an apology for poetry, which is the first historical survey of poets and poetry. From the beginning of Anglo-Saxon period to Elizabethan times, prose writing has taken different form and style. Official documents, translations, prose writing, pamphlets, commentaries, and surveys have taken different forms in different stages of development. But the prose form takes a new dimension in 17th century. It gives a new birth to the prose form. The prominent and representative writers of the age is Edmund Spenser, Francis Bacon, and others laid the foundation for new prose writing. Jonathan Swift, Jonathan Swift, Daniel Defoe, John Milton, edition of 18th century has taken prose form to new heights. The novel form emerged in this time and progressed into the new levels in this age. Alexander Pope, Ben Jonson, Oliver Goldsmith, and others have written in new style of prose, that is poetic prose. William Blake, Charles Lamb, William Hazlitt were written in new unique prose style. In 19th and 20th century, John Ruskin, Matthew Arnold, and other writers used prose form to express the scholarly views of society and literature. In this way, the prose form has taken new dimension and styles at different levels. Session summary goes like this: development of prose form in English literature, development from translations to creative productions, prose transforms fiction in 17th century. Dear students, for further reference, we can refer David H's A Critical History of English Literature. Nair Pramod K. A Short History of English Literature. Hudson An Outline History of English Literature. With this, I am going to conclude this video and session. Thank you.